A brick home near the Blue Ridge Mountains is being advertised at just $10,000. That price sounds almost impossible, especially for a three-bedroom house with a basement, a fireplace, and a large yard. But the number comes with an important condition. It is an auction starting point, not the guaranteed price a buyer will pay. That single detail captures the reality of bargain real estate in South Carolina. The low prices can be genuine, but they almost always come with a trade-off. Sometimes the home needs major repairs. Sometimes the nearest hospital or major employer is 30 or 40 miles away. In other cases, the sale requires cash, the property sits in a flood-prone region, or the advertised price is designed to attract bidders. Still, South Carolina remains one of the places where buyers can occasionally find a real house, usable land, and enough privacy to live differently without spending $500,000. The properties we are looking at range from modest starter homes to brick ranches, historic houses, wooded acreage, and move-in-ready homes with several acres. Some would work well for retirement. Others could appeal to a homesteader, an investor, or someone who works remotely and no longer needs to live near a major city. But the most important question is not simply how cheap each property looks. It is whether the price still makes sense after considering repairs, insurance, transportation, utilities, and resale demand. We will begin with a straightforward country home that has already fallen below six figures. At 398 Kennedy Road in Fairfax, the asking price is $89,000. The house was built in 1981 and offers approximately 1,149 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, and just over 1 acre of land. This is not the kind of home that will impress buyers with dramatic architecture or luxury finishes. It is small, simple, and practical. But at this price, practicality may be exactly the attraction. The property is being offered as is, which means a buyer should not assume the seller will complete repairs or make improvements before closing. The buyer would need to verify the condition of the house, the boundaries of the land, and any other important details independently. The encouraging part is that the roof and HVAC system were reportedly inspected recently and found to be in good condition. On an inexpensive house, those two systems matter enormously. A replacement roof or failed heating and cooling system can quickly turn an affordable purchase into a financial burden. Fairfax has a population of roughly 1,500 people. It is a quiet, working-class community where daily life is slower and housing costs remain modest. The town itself has limited shopping and services, so residents often drive to Hampton, about 8 miles away, for medical care, groceries, restaurants, and larger stores. A buyer considering this property should think carefully about transportation. Living here without a dependable vehicle would be difficult. Employment opportunities inside Fairfax are limited, and many residents commute elsewhere for work. But for a buyer who wants a manageable house more than an acre and a mortgage that may cost less than rent in many cities, this property has a clear appeal. It could be a first home, a rental property, or a simple place for someone who values financial breathing room more than modern design. The next house costs slightly more, but it offers nearly twice the interior space and a separate workshop. At 270 Senior Road in Kingstree, a brick home on more than an acre is listed for $99,500. The house contains approximately 1,956 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a family room, a separate living room, an eat-in kitchen, and a fireplace. There may also be enough interior space to create an additional bedroom and bathroom, although any buyer would need to confirm whether those changes are practical and permitted. Outside the property includes a covered deck, a covered patio, and a detached workshop. That workshop could be valuable for someone who repairs equipment, restores furniture, works on vehicles, or simply needs storage that does not consume the living space. The house is being sold as is, and the low price reflects that condition. A buyer should expect renovation work. Flooring, paint, fixtures, plumbing, electrical systems, and the crawl space should all be evaluated carefully. The asking price may be below $100,000, but the final investment could be significantly higher once repairs begin. Kingstree is a small town of around 3,000 people. Its economy was historically connected to tobacco, textiles, and garment production. Today, it remains a modest regional center, with local restaurants, grocery stores, pharmacies, small businesses, and basic medical services. The Black River gives the area an outdoor identity. Fishing, paddling, hunting, and river recreation are available nearby. The town also has an Amtrak station, although most daily transportation still requires a car. One concern is weather. This part of South Carolina can experience strong winds, tropical storms, and flooding. Buyers should check the property's flood zone status, insurance availability, drainage, and previous storm damage before making a decision. For the right person, this house offers something increasingly difficult to find. Almost 2,000 square feet brick construction, a workshop, and land for less than 6 figures. But it is not a finished product. The buyer is paying for space and potential, then accepting the responsibility of bringing the property back to life. About 30 miles away, another brick ranch offers a simpler path into rural ownership. At 2,260 Old Spring Road near Lake City, the asking price is $104,900. The home has approximately 1,350 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a carport, and roughly 1.3 acres. The construction is straightforward: brick exterior wood and vinyl flooring, a heat pump system, private well, and a septic system. There are no elaborate features and no large decorative additions. The value lies in having a functional house, covered parking, and enough land to create privacy without taking on a huge property. The annual property tax has been reported at around $560, although buyers should verify the current amount and how it might change after a sale. Private wells and septic systems can reduce monthly utility bills, but they also create maintenance responsibilities. A well inspection should confirm water quality and flow. A septic inspection should determine whether the system is functioning properly and whether the drain field has enough remaining life. Lake City has approximately 5,900 residents. It began as an agricultural center and is now trying to build a stronger identity around art culture and its historic downtown. The town hosts Art Fields, a regional art event, and has parks, galleries, small businesses, and local restaurants. Florence is about 25 miles away and provides larger hospitals, employers, shopping centers, and interstate access. That distance is manageable for occasional trips, but it could become tiring for someone who needs specialized medical care or commutes every day. This property may suit a retiree who wants low carrying costs, a small family that needs land, or a buyer who prefers owning a basic rural home instead of renting. It does not offer the dramatic acreage of some houses later in the list, but it may be one of the more realistic options for a person who wants something affordable without taking on an enormous restoration. The next property has more character, more square footage, and the kind of porch many people imagine when they think about life in the South. At 6715 Young Street in Rembert, a historic 3-bedroom home on 2 acres is priced at $170,000. The house contains approximately 2,207 square feet, 2 bathrooms, hardwood floors, original French doors, formal living and dining rooms, and large porches wrapping around the front and side. This house does not feel like a generic modern subdivision home. The proportions, wood floors, doors, and shaded porches give it a sense of history that would be difficult to recreate today without spending considerably more money. The kitchen is large, but reportedly needs additional work. Other parts of the home may also require updating. Older houses can hide expensive problems, especially in the electrical system, plumbing, foundation, roof, insulation, and windows. The visible charm should never replace a professional inspection. Rembert has fewer than 200 residents. It is surrounded by farmland and countryside, and the median age is relatively high. This is a place for someone who genuinely wants quiet. Sumter is approximately 17 miles away and serves as the main destination for hospital shopping jobs and entertainment. That distance allows residents to reach necessary services without living in a busy town. But it also means almost every errand requires planning. Imagine how daily life might feel here. Morning coffee on a deep porch, mature trees moving in the breeze, 2 acres that provide privacy without requiring farm-scale maintenance, hardwood floors, tall rooms, and enough interior space for guests, hobbies, or a home office. The trade-off is that this house may demand ongoing attention. Historic character is valuable, but it is rarely maintenance-free. This property makes the most sense for someone who enjoys older homes and understands that preservation often requires both money and patience. Our next property looks affordable for its size, but the legal and financing situation changes the calculation completely. At 559 Rivers Hill Road in Pineland, a 3-bedroom manufactured home with a brick exterior is listed for $149,900. It was built around 2000 and offers approximately 1,904 square feet, 2 bathrooms, an attached 2-car garage, an enclosed front porch, accessibility ramps, a storage shed, and a fireplace. The property sits on about 1 acre. On the surface, the combination of square footage, garage space, land, and a price below $150,000 appears attractive. The problem is that the mobile home reportedly does not have a title. As a result, the property is being offered as a cash-only sale. That is not a minor inconvenience. Without clear documentation for the manufactured home, traditional lenders may refuse to finance the purchase. The title issue could also affect insurance, future resale, taxation, and the buyer's ability to prove ownership of the structure. Anyone considering this property would need advice from a qualified South Carolina real estate attorney or title professional. The buyer should understand exactly what is included in the deed, how the home is classified, and what steps would be required to correct the documentation. Pineland is a rural community of roughly 560 people. There is no major commercial center, and residents must drive for most services. Savannah, Georgia is about an hour away and provides larger hospitals, airports, shopping, and employment. This location could appeal to someone who wants privacy, has cash available, and does not need regular access to urban amenities. The garage shed and land provide space for equipment, hobbies, or a small rural operation. But the low price should not distract from the legal uncertainty. A cheap home with a documentation problem can become difficult to sell, difficult to insure, and difficult to finance. This property may be a bargain for a knowledgeable cash buyer, but it is not a simple purchase. The next home is also a project, although the risk comes from physical condition rather than missing title paperwork. At 3328 County Road S226, outside Georgetown, a brick ranch on approximately 2 acres is listed for $195,000. After a substantial price reduction. The home has around 1,837 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a living room, a separate den, an enclosed carport, a storage shed, and an additional garage. That extra garage changes how the property could be used. It may provide enough room for a workshop, vehicle storage, lawn equipment, tools, or a small home-based business. Combined with 2 acres, the property offers more flexibility than the typical suburban house. The listing makes it clear that the home needs work. A buyer should budget for repairs rather than assuming the reduced price creates instant equity. The roof, HVAC, moisture levels, electrical system, plumbing, foundation, and any previous storm damage should be inspected. The property is located about 17 miles from Georgetown. The city itself is a historic port community with rivers, marshes, seafood, and strong low-country character. Myrtle Beach is roughly 35 miles north, while Charleston is approximately 60 miles south. Georgetown is also facing economic change. A major paper mill that had employed hundreds of people closed in 2024, removing one of the area's long-standing employment anchors. Tourism, healthcare, small businesses, and regional commuting may become more important as the local economy adjusts. Weather is another serious consideration. The Lowcountry is humid, receives heavy rainfall, and can be affected by hurricanes and flooding. Insurance costs may be higher than expected, particularly if the property is located in or near a flood zone. For a buyer who values coastal access fishing boating and space for projects, this home could be appealing. But the total cost of ownership may be much higher than the mortgage alone. Renovation and insurance could determine whether this is a bargain or simply a low-priced entrance into an expensive project. Now consider a property that offers almost 4 acres and a larger 2-story layout. 466 Dudley Road in Latta, a brick home on approximately 3.77 acres, is listed for $210,000. It has around 1,920 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, a living room, a den with a fireplace, custom built-in bookshelves, and a formal dining room. All bedrooms and full bathrooms are upstairs, while the main level is designed for everyday living and entertaining. Outside the property includes a screened detached patio, a 2-car carport, and a large storage building. The acreage is large enough for gardens, outdoor projects, animals where permitted, or simply a wider buffer between the house and the road. At the same time, it is not so large that maintenance automatically requires farm equipment and full-time labor. Latta has around 1,300 residents. It is a small, slow-moving town where homeowners make up a large portion of the community. Dillon is nearby, and Florence is roughly 24 miles away. There are few trendy amenities here. Shopping, entertainment, and specialized healthcare require driving. But the cost of living is low, traffic is limited, and the pace may appeal to retirees or buyers tired of crowded suburbs. This property is not the cheapest home in the group, but it may offer one of the better balances. The house is large enough for a family. The exterior is brick, the land is usable, and the location is rural without being completely cut off from regional services. The next property offers more than twice as much land, but the house requires a buyer willing to improve it. At 3,190 Apple Orchard Road in Clinton, a brick ranch on more than 9 wooded acres is listed for $229,900 after a price reduction. The house is approximately 1,250 square feet, with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a large kitchen, original wood cabinets, a dining area, a spacious living room, and a wood-burning stove. The home itself is modest. The land is the reason this property stands out. More than 9 wooded acres could provide privacy, walking trails, firewood space for a garden, or room for additional structures where local regulations allow them. A buyer should verify the boundaries, road access, timber rights, zoning, and whether any portion of the property is wetlands or otherwise difficult to use. The house needs updating. Original cabinetry, worn finishes, older systems, and limited heating arrangements may require investment. A wood stove can be valuable, but most buyers will still want reliable central heating and cooling. Clinton has a stronger regional position than some of the smaller communities on this list. It is home to Presbyterian College and has interstate access that makes Greenville, Spartanburg, and Columbia reachable in roughly an hour. The town includes a historic downtown, local businesses, restaurants, parks, and a mix of students, families, and long-term residents. That broader economic base may support better resale demand than an isolated rural village. This property could appeal to a homesteader, hunter, remote worker, or buyer who wants wooded privacy without moving several hours from a city. The compromise is that the house itself may feel small compared with the amount of land and improvements will add to the total investment. The most expensive home in the group may also be the easiest one to live in immediately. At 202 East Twin Church Road in Timmonsville, a renovated 3-bedroom home on approximately 6 acres is listed for $250,000. The house offers around 1,516 square feet and 2 bathrooms. Improvements reportedly include fresh paint granite kitchen counters, a center island, stainless steel appliances, updated bathrooms, tile showers, new vanities, hardwood flooring, and luxury vinyl plank flooring in the bedrooms. A screened porch extends across the front, and the living area includes a wood-burning fireplace. The washer and dryer are included. The roof was replaced in 2020, and the crawl space was encapsulated around the same time. Those upgrades matter because they reduce some of the uncertainty associated with inexpensive rural homes. A newer roof and encapsulated crawl space may help protect against two common southern problems: water intrusion and moisture beneath the house. The annual property tax has been reported at approximately $291, although the current bill and any changes after purchase should be confirmed. Timmonsville has about 2,200 residents and sits roughly 15 miles from Florence. That proximity is important. Florence provides major retailers, hospitals, an airport, employers, and entertainment that Timmonsville itself cannot offer. The town's economy is modest, and local household incomes are below the national average. Property crime has also been a concern, so a buyer should research the immediate area rather than judging the entire town from a single statistic. This home may be the best option for someone who wants land without spending years renovating. 6 acres, an updated interior, a screened porch, and recent structural improvements create a more complete package. The price is higher than the other properties, but the buyer may be paying for fewer immediate problems. Sometimes the cheapest listing is not the least expensive property to own. A renovated home at $250,000 can be financially safer than a $100,000 house that requires another $100,000 in repairs. That brings us to the property with the most misleading price and perhaps the most interesting opportunity. At 147 White Oak Street in Walhalla, a brick ranch is advertised at $10,000. But this is an online auction, and the house will be sold to the highest bidder. The advertised figure is a starting point, or placeholder, not an expected final sale price. The home contains approximately 1,600 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a formal living room, a den with a fireplace and built-in bookshelves, a kitchen with a pantry and laundry area, and a large unfinished basement with another fireplace. Outside, there is a 2-car carport, a storage room, a patio, and a large yard on approximately 0.43 acres. The house was reportedly owned by one family and appears to have been maintained rather than abandoned. This is not a farmhouse with large acreage, but its location gives it a different kind of value. Walhalla sits near the Blue Ridge Mountains and is known as a gateway to hiking waterfalls, camping, horseback riding, and scenic drives. Downtown includes local restaurants, shops, and community businesses. Seneca is nearby, providing additional employment, healthcare, and shopping. Comparable move-in-ready homes in the area commonly cost much more than the advertised auction opening price. That creates the possibility of a bargain, but only if bidding remains controlled. Auctions reward discipline. A buyer should inspect the property, read every auction condition, understand the buyer's premium, confirm the deposit requirements, research the title, and establish a strict maximum bid before participating. A house that begins at $10,000 could sell for $50,000, $100,000, or far more. Competition determines the final number. Emotional bidding can erase the discount very quickly. Still, this may be the most intriguing property in the group. It offers brick construction, a basement, multiple fireplaces, 3 bedrooms, and access to one of South Carolina's most scenic regions. If the final price remains reasonable and the inspection reveals no major surprises, the buyer could acquire a solid mountain town home below normal market value. These properties show why cheap rural real estate is both exciting and complicated. The Fairfax home offers a low entry price and reportedly solid mechanical systems, but it is small and located in a limited job market. The Kingstree property provides space and a workshop, but it requires renovation and careful flood research. Lake City offers a practical brick ranch with low taxes, while Rembert provides historic character and deep rural quiet. Pineland has space and useful features, but the missing title creates significant legal and financing questions. Georgetown combines acreage and coastal access with renovation needs, storm exposure, and an economy in transition. Latta offers a balanced mix of house, land, and affordability. Clinton provides more than 9 wooded acres, while Timmonsville offers the most complete move-in-ready package. And Walhalla proves that the lowest advertised price can be the least predictable of all. A cheap house is not automatically a good deal. The real value depends on what the buyer needs, what the property requires, and what the surrounding area can support. Someone who works from home may tolerate a long drive to the nearest city, but require reliable, high-speed internet. A retiree may care more about hospital access than acreage. A homesteader may accept an outdated kitchen, but need usable soil, flexible zoning, and dependable water. An investor may focus on rent demand and resale liquidity rather than porches, fireplaces, or mountain views. Before buying any inexpensive rural property, verify the title inspection history, flood zone insurance cost, road access, internet availability, well septic system, zoning, taxes, and estimated renovation budget. The asking price is only the first number in the calculation, but for buyers who understand the compromises, South Carolina still offers something that has disappeared from many parts of the country: the possibility of owning a real home, private land, and enough space to breathe without taking on an overwhelming mortgage.